Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to attend this webinar. I will talk about Amazon Pinpoint, how to drive effective mobile engagement, and enable targeted push notifications. My name is Daniel Jeski. I work as a solutions architect for Amazon Web Services. I'm based out of Berlin, and I have a focus on AWS mobile services. Amazon Pinpoint is one of the services that we've launched during reInvent 2016, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this service. Key takeaways for you is, first I will explain Pinpoint, how it's useful when you think about developing great mobile apps, great working solutions for your end users, and the capabilities to show how Amazon thinks about bringing analytics and engagement together to fulfill the needs of mobile developers. And I'll leave you with a demo of Pinpoint. Welcome to Amazon Pinpoint. Amazon Pinpoint makes it easy to run targeted campaigns to drive user engagement in mobile applications. Amazon Pinpoint helps you understand user behavior, define which users to target, determine which messages to send, schedule the best time to deliver those messages, and then track the results of your campaign. What we look at here, welcome to Amazon Pinpoint, that's a screen grab of when you first open the service in the console, and it highlights the three focus areas of Pinpoint. The first one is to analyze user behavior. Get all the data that's relevant to your mobile apps to understand how users interact with the apps that you create. And the second one is the Pinpoint campaign management and segmentation, where you have all this great data and you say, what do you do with it? How do you define audience segments? Which are the best customers to reach with a specific campaign? You can use Pinpoint segmentation and campaigns to define who to reach, when to reach them, and in what cadence you want to reach out to them. The third item is Pinpoint messaging. Today, Pinpoint enables you to create powerful, personalized, customized messages to reach out to your customers to effectively engage them. And why is that important? It's because Pinpoint enables target messaging. From our research, we've seen that targeted messaging and targeted campaigns are 3 times more effective than transactional broadcast push notifications. And that effectiveness translates to a better user experience for your users because your users are happier with your messages. It's because they're more relevant to them, because it prevents them from opting out, and it keeps them more engaged. And it keeps them more engaged repeatedly because you continuously reach the right audience with the right message. Amazon Pinpoint has 2 personas, the developer and the marketer, and we address both of those customer segments with the service. Targeted push notifications based on app usage trends and user behavior are they've become a very popular approach for mobile app user engagement because response rates are often several times higher than traditional email marketing campaigns. And by using targeted push notifications, you can increase message relevance and effectiveness, you can measure engagement, and you can continually improve your campaigns. You can increase engagement using both mobile and non-mobile data and use that for segmentation. And segmentation is how you define who to target. Basically, you create the right message to reach each of the audience segments. Then you measure the improvements using campaign analytics to see how the features work together, how the campaigns work together. Then you basically, it effectively that enables you to improve the effectiveness and the relevance of your platform to your users and that in turn ensures continued retention. As you develop your mobile applications, I think it's important that from day one you think about who is your end user, so that you can ensure retention. Based on some of the stats that we saw in our research, it takes more than $10 to acquire a user, and yet nearly 25% of your users won't come back after the first day, and after a week the drop-off rate is 70%. So what that means is you put a lot of effort into developing your application and bringing your users into the application, and that's why I say think up front. How do you ensure that your users keep coming back to your apps? How do you ensure that they're engaged and that you can retain them, that you can retain those users proactively? Why Amazon Pinpoint? When we started developing Pinpoint, we talked to our customers to research the space, and we found that the engagement space is a very rich space with lots of options out there for you. But what we also saw is that each of the options have gaps, and that presented an opportunity to innovate and to build something to bring the pieces together for you as our customers. We want to enable you not to have to think about the pieces as you grow, as your use case evolves. So flexibility is an important component of the design of Pinpoint. And as you scale, you build your system on a specific throughput expectation, and in traditional environment where you have a different scale or the load volume goes up, your system that you've designed with a throughput in mind may not be able to hit that throughput expectation. With the ability to scale, you may also hit reliability issues, getting the right data at the right time, and so on. Most solutions in this space are bundled solutions, and the way pricing is structured is often in bundles. It's bundle pricing, and you can't really change the features and the functionality that you use based on your needs as a customer. And at the point that you need to customize other solutions to work for you, to really engage a customer, you end up having only quite expensive options to engage your customers effectively. So given that context, how did we build Pinpoint? Let's take a look at the capabilities. First, there's campaign management and the ability to create smart campaigns, and to not over-communicate to your customers and to continuously improve those campaigns. Features like A/B testing, control group testing, quiet time, message caps, rich notifications, these are all features that enable you to create really smart push notification campaigns to engage your users. Rich notifications, that means the ability to send images with your push notifications. And think about a retail app, for example. Say you want to engage with your user and say, hey, look, here's a special deal for you. It would be convenient for your customer if you send an image of the product that's on sale along with the message. Or say you're in a newsfeed app and you want to send updates to your users based on the frequency that they configure to receive your updates. But at the same time, you want to guard them so that you won't reach them, let's say, between 10 in the evening and 6 in the morning. So that's what you have quiet times for. That's what you have message caps, and that's what you'd use recurring cadence to configure recurring campaigns. The second point, rich analytics, is you have campaign and you have app analytics. You can create segments and you can create funnels. You have downstream flexibility to use those functionalities, for example, with the ability to export your data to S3 that's the simple storage service, an object storage service that we offer on the platform. The rich analytics also means that with that downstream flexibility, you can customize your app to respond to custom events later on, or you could visualize how the analytics work in your own BI tool, or relate data that you collect from other sources. An example is a sports app where you want to customize how different customers interact with different pieces of the app. Or let's say you're a game developer, you want to know what's the score, or when do we move on to the next level, and so on. The third item is flexibility with segmentation. There's options to actually engage with different segments and the ability to target the right audience. With Pinpoint, you have the flexibility to view the depth of the segments. So segments analytics is what offers you that. And based on that functionality, you can create personalized segments based on your business logic. So that's enabled by custom attributes that are part of Pinpoint. I already mentioned two personas, the developer and the marketer. So we're looking at the developer persona first. Pinpoint for the developers is a marketing automation solution. You have full API and CLI support, so that's the programming interface and command line interface, and that enables you to seamlessly integrate with your segmentation database platforms and to enable marketing automation. This helps people who work in a DevOps structure, if there's people like that on the call today. So this enables DevOps people to quicker empower their marketers to segment users based on business logic that they want to apply. So it means you can respond very quickly to business requirements with solutions and code. And with that, basically you get the flexibility to add business logic via APIs to your marketing campaigns and to your segmentation. And that flexibility continues into how you instrument the app and how you add custom events and customize your endpoints with custom marketing messaging. So the main idea is you can automate that, and you should. The second persona that we've added to Pinpoint is the marketer. The marketer wants a rich console experience to visually see how to interact with Pinpoint and to see the different functionality that Pinpoint offers. So rather than giving pure campaign functionality, in Pinpoint, we built something deeper, some deeper functionality than that. Let's say you're part of a marketing team that creates and runs campaigns. You also want to see data on how your campaign is performing, and you want tools to improve your campaign messaging, to improve the performance. And for that, we've added A/B testing and control group testing, because these features empower your teams to see the value of the campaigns you're running. Let's say you're, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're reaching out to 1 million users with a campaign, and you want to judge effectiveness of the campaign, so you define a 10% control group. So you hold out the campaign message from 100,000 of those million users, and then compare the two user sets amongst each other to see the effectiveness of the campaign. So you see the effect of the users without the campaign, the users with the campaign, you see the difference. That's holdout. The ability to segment users dynamically is another important feature for the marketer. Segmentation feature enables the marketer to define a segment expression. A segment expression defines a selection logic, basically. So I'll give you an example. Let's say this segment contains all users who have used the app in the last 7 days and like Borussia Dortmund as a team, for example. So that's the expression. And then you can create a weekly campaign called Borussia Dortmund news updates. And before every run of the campaign, which we call a campaign instance, Pinpoint will compute the target audience. So that's at every run. So what that means is that Pinpoint will compute who will be eligible for this campaign run based on data right now. So it's very dynamic. So for example, going with that example, based on that expression that you define, Pinpoint would select 50,000 users in the first week, and then say in week 2 you have 100,000 users who are eligible for the news update. So it's very dynamic, and you don't have to update that expression or the pool of users. It's selected dynamically. The ability to send rich images is a feature that's really relevant for the marketer, because that allows you to get creative with your marketing campaigns. And one final note on this item is, I mentioned Pinpoint just launched at reInvent 2016, and we're early on with the service, and we're always looking for feedback from you. What can we improve? We're constantly learning and we're listening, so please, if you have ideas, feedback, things you need, let us know. So we talked about reliability and scale being primary concerns for the system. I want to mention a couple of words on scale. The throughput that Pinpoint delivers and the flexibility that it offers to you means that you can use it to deliver 1 million messages in under a minute. It also means you can import more than 1 million profiles in under 4 minutes. You have a lot of flexibility with instrumentation and defining custom events and custom attributes. And the rich experience that AWS has in offering mobile services to thousands of customers who use these services on a daily basis, that gives us two things. It gives us the operational excellence to do this correctly, but it also gives us the confidence about how to scale this system. And that translates to you so that you can rely on that the system will work for you, not only today, but also when you have 10,000 customers, when you have 100,000 customers, and more. A couple of words on Pinpoint pricing. Pinpoint offers flexible and transparent pricing with a usage-based pay-as-you-go model. And with Amazon Pinpoint, there are no upfront setup costs and no fixed monthly costs. We thought about what you, our customers, use the service for. And at Amazon, we actually have a process for this. We call it the working backwards from the customer process. So we thought about, what do you use these services for? And here's a list of 3 items. Basically, you use it to understand your users. So that means that's the transport function of inbound events. Then second, there's an outbound channel. So you reach out to users with messages. And third, there is the central piece that ties events and messages together. And that's the intelligent segmentation and campaign management system. And we price each of these use cases individually to give you the flexibility to choose the features that you want to use. So here's an example of how that makes sense, how you would use that. Let's say you're an early stage application, and you just want to understand how your end users use the app. So you enable Pinpoint Analytics to get all the rich data. And in that case, you pay the price for the inbound analytics only, which is priced at $1 per million events. And then let's say either your app gets more mature, or even if you don't collect events, if you just want to do targeted messaging. So either way, let's say you want to create targeted messages and campaigns. If you do that, you can just create the campaigns and you'll be charged for the targeting and the messages. So you only pay for the number of users your campaign targets, the messages you send, and the events you collect, so you can start small and scale as your application grows. So the idea behind this simple pricing model is to enable you to understand how your cost will grow when your app will grow. It's very predictable because of its simplicity. Getting started with Amazon Pinpoint is really easy. The first option is to use AWS Mobile Hub, which will guide you through the process to integrate the AWS Mobile SDK with your app. Once you've done that, you define your target segments, your campaign message, and specify the delivery schedule. And once your campaign is running, Pinpoint provides metrics so that you can run analytics and track the impact of your campaign. Another way to get started with Pinpoint is you could just go to the Pinpoint console to create a project. You define the project name and start using Pinpoint like that. So either way, really simple. A word on service availability. Pinpoint is available in the US East region today, and the AWS Cloud Platform expands daily. As an example, we've added 27 new features just last week, so it's worth keeping up with news of what's going on in the AWS world, in the world of features and services, and I highly recommend you regularly visit aws.amazon.com/new to always see the most recent announcements from AWS. All right, so this was the introduction, and now we'll move over to the console, and I'll show you a demo of how it actually works. So we see an account here that has four Pinpoint applications running at the moment. Let's look at the AWS feed reader. Oh, sorry, we'll start with creating one. Let's say we create one in Mobile Hub. So we'll create a new Mobile Hub project, web day demo. Create the project, then say we want to enable engagement for this project. The next question is, do we want to send push notifications to our customers? If we do, we'll have to provide the GCM or FCM key and sender ID. For iOS, we'd have to upload the certificate and the cert pass. That's optional, and once you've saved that, you have the Mobile Hub project basically will set up the Pinpoint app for you. So this was an example of how to create a new Pinpoint project, but I'm going to look at the AWS Feed Reader project because that's actually a good project for a demo, because this is where we have actual data in here, and I think that's more interesting to look at. So from the project list, I clicked on AWS Feed Reader, my project, and the first thing we see is the overview of the last 30 days, just a general overview. That's a sampling of different relevant metrics. You can specify what time horizon you want to look at here. I'll go to the next tab, which is usage. So this is all the analytics mode in here. That's what we're looking at. On the usage tab, we see daily active users and how they change over time, monthly active users. We see purchases and sessions. We see sessions per user and a stickiness factor, as well as the delta on that, how it changes over time. And we see a session heat map, which is probably very interesting if you want to find out when do people use your application. So what weekday do they use it? What time do they use it? So we can see here that Saturdays at 4, apparently, more users use use this feed reader application then on the other days. On Monday between 6 and 7, there's also sessions happening in the last 30 days. Finally, we also see countries that are reported. So here we have an even split of US, Japan, UK, China for our sample application right now. Campaigns, I'll skip. We'll look at that later. We'll look at revenue now. So this is where when you report purchase events or revenue for the purchase event, the analytics dashboard here would do the maths and show you details like revenue per user or revenue per paying users, how many paying users you have and how that changes over time. So things, details related to the monetization of your application. In the demographics tab, I think that's very interesting to analyze who your users are in terms of what platform do they use, what application version do they use, on what model of devices. So this is very relevant for if you need to prioritize bug testing or bug fixing. Here we see it's a very even split, about 1/3 between iPad, iPhone, and Android. We can see the makes of mobile devices that are being used with our application, and countries again. But then we also see custom attributes. So those are details like the area of interest. So the demo app we're looking at, AWS Feed Reader, it's a demo application that we've built internally that subscribes to RSS feeds and lets you pick a number of RSS feeds based on a category. So there's categories like analytics, compute, app services, networking, mobile, and other. And so here we see how do all our users' interest groups split over the various interests. We've got persona, which is robot and human. So we needed a way to test this at scale. So we've built bots, and we can see I think we have 20 humans in the systems. So bots overwhelm this here persona. And in terms of subscription, we can see, so we define 2 custom attributes here. Subscription can be premium, it can be free, and we've got a very even split. This is owed to the fact that our bots are 50-50. So this would look more interesting with a real application. We've got events here. So events, we can see these are subscribe events. So when someone subscribes to a new feed, we see that there were 12 subscriptions on Saturday, probably in that same session that we looked at earlier. Person subscribed to 13 things. On average, we got 3.8 subscribes per session. And finally, we've got funnels. And funnel, you can define how do your users progress through states in your application. So that's the thing where you could visualize things like, say you're in a game and you want to see how do people move from level to level. Or in this case, we've got an example here in a funnel called subscriptions. We filter out the session starts, which is a default event that comes, that's part of the standard implementation. Subscribe, which is a custom event. So we can see out of the 5 people who started the session, 20% converted to a subscription, and then out of those, 100% converted to unsubscribe. So maybe that doesn't make the most sense in this example, but this is what this shows us, that people who subscribe also unsubscribe. So that's a funnel. All right, the last item I skipped earlier is campaigns. What we're looking at here is we have 1 active campaign only on a daily schedule. This screen in the analytics section shows you the summary of all the campaigns. We'll look at campaigns in detail here on the left side. So this was analytics, and we'll look at segments first. So segments that we've defined here are users who are active in the last 30 days, bots, humans, and robots who like analytics. And to show you how segmentation works, let's create a new segment. Let's call it humans who subscribe to mobile. And that's where we type the name of the segment. Then the first question is, how do we define the segment? Is it a segment that is built dynamically based on data that's collected in the application? Or do we want to import the segment from a file? Say you have, maybe you've already got segmentation data. And so you could import it here to create a campaign for a static segment. I'll go back to the dynamic segment and say I want to target everyone who has not used the app in the last 30 days, who is, let's say they're using a Samsung device, and we said we want humans, so we'll do persona humans. And we also said we wanted humans who are interested in mobile. Okay, so we got 0 of those, so it's possible that nobody of the humans we've tested with has a Samsung, so I removed Samsung. We got 5 active users. I'll just leave the device attribute empty here. So this segment, humans who subscribe to mobile and have not used the app in the last 30 days, would target 5% of my total user base. So I create that segment. And now the next step is you can create a campaign based on that segment. Before we do that, I'm going to show you campaigns that already exist. We've got this one here that we also saw in the overview. It shows us that 12 messages have been delivered, 0% open rate, which is not very good, with a 25% holdout. So now let's say we create a new campaign. We want to address the users that haven't used the app in the last 30 days. So we call this Web Day Demo Campaign. And we can choose, first of all, is it a standard campaign or is it an A/B test? And what are we testing with the A/B test? Are we testing the message, or are we testing the time when the message is sent? For the demo here, I'll go with the standard campaign. Okay, next it asks us what segment do we want to address with this campaign? Is it a new segment? And then we see the same criteria here that we looked at earlier, or we can use a segment that's already defined. So we created the segment humans who subscribe to mobile and haven't used the app in the last 30 days. So let's use this one. Those are 5 monthly active users, and we can specify a holdout here of, let's say, 50%. Let's say 60%, because that's easier to do maths with that. So it's 60% holdout. That means we would deliver this to 2 of our 5 users and hold out on the other 60%. So this is where we define the segment. In the third step, we define the message. And for message, the options are a standard notification, which is what bubbles up to the user, or a silent notification. A silent notification you could use to push configuration or to influence user behavior in the app, to draw attention to a certain feature. Let's use standard notification for our example. We'll call this Mobile Web Day. Hello from the Web Day demo. So that's our message. And then we can decide what's the action that the device should perform when the notification is interacted with. Do we want to open an app? Do we want to open a URL? Or do we want to deep link into a specific screen? Let's say we just want to open the app. All right. The fourth step in creating the campaign is where we pick the schedule. And here you see a couple of different timing options. We could choose to send something off right now and choose quiet time. So when do we not want to send this message to the users? We can choose to send this message just once, or we can send it on a regular schedule. So let's say we can send it daily. And we choose to start to send messages on Friday at 10 European Central Time. We say we want to use the user's local time for the delivery schedule. So that means that the message timing will be calculated based on the user. And we choose, because we selected daily here, we want to end our campaign, our daily messages on the 29th, let's say. So we're sending it throughout the month. And finally, the optional quiet time, start and end, that's user time again. So that's user local time. So check that here. That's where we say we want to not send something to the user between, what did we say, 10 and 6, we said. Between 10 and 6, the user shouldn't receive messages. So those two users that are part of our segment don't receive anything at night, their time. All right, the next step is to review and launch the campaign. Review all the details that we've configured and launch the campaign. And once that's configured, the campaign will run on its own until it's expired. All right. That was the campaign tab here. And the last item that I want to show you as part of the Pinpoint demo is the Manage tab, where you have a couple of options. That is, you can set the maximum number of messages that a user of this campaign, of this application, should receive within a day. So this is important to reduce the noise that the user gets, to make sure that they don't get frustrated to the point that they disable the notification functionality. So let's say we don't want to have more than 2 messages sent per user per day. We can configure the maximum number of messages that a user can receive for a campaign. So let's say you have a campaign that ends up segmenting your user multiple times into a campaign. You can reduce the number of messages that the user would get for a campaign. So this is a global setting here for this app. You can specify global quiet times in addition to campaign quiet times, and you can configure abbreviated numbers. In the event stream, you can stream app and campaign events to Kinesis or to S3, so that you can analyze the data that Pinpoint Analytics generates and saves and collects. So you can analyze that in a third system. For example, using QuickSight for BI, or some other tool to visualize or analyze your events, to do machine learning on it, for example. That's event stream, allows you to export the data. And finally, the channel settings, which is where you define how you send, how you authenticate against GCM, FCM, or APNS. So the same details that we looked at when we created the Mobile Hub project. So that's the demo of Amazon Pinpoint. I'll jump back to the presentation. And actually, that's the end. So what I want to give you on your way is to use Pinpoint for your mobile app. And if you have an interesting solution, please share it with us. We're always looking for customer feedback, and it would be interesting to see what you're building and how you're using it. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend the session, and enjoy the next 2 sessions on the mobile applications web day.